What is up, Sports Wars? This is Roy coming at you with a new Sports Wars series that I like to call Sports Wars Solves. Uh, During the last podcast, me and Pat kind of joked around about the idea of solving the NBA tanking issue by having basically a losers tournament, basically the NBA version of the NIT. And I like to think it was a pretty good idea. I haven't really checked much of the feedback to see what all y'all thought. But it gave me an idea to start my own little mini series on the Sports Wars channel called Sports Wars Solves. And I reached out to our Facebook group to kind of get some ideas on what y'all would like to see Sports Wars tackle. Like, what is a problem in sports that you want to see solved, man? I mean, we're fans here at Sports Wars. Above everything, we're sports fans just like you guys. We see the same issues, whether it be what is a catch, what isn't a catch, the pay of college athletes, should they be paid? I know that's a hot topic that I may very well get into. This is kind of a spur of the moment thing, almost a test video, if you will. But there was a really good one that was brought up by one of our longtime Sports Wars OGs that I thought I would tackle. I wanted to tackle it in a different way than it was worded. Thomas Gilkey, you know him, I know him, we all love him. Mr. Thomas is one of our longtime Sports Wars fans. He also happens to be a hardcore baseball fan. He is a hardcore Boston Red Sox fan. And his question specifically was, why do the Sports Wars admins, apart from Aaron, who's a White Sox fan, not seem to really care about baseball as much? And I wanted to kind of go broad, a little more broad with the question. I don't think it's so much just Sports Wars. I think it's America in general. The popularity of baseball is nowhere near its kind of peak. In the I want to say the peak for me was early 90s, the Braves World Series. Mid 90s, I want to say 95 was the Braves World Series. And I've got several theories. I actually one time kind of threw around the idea of writing an article for the website about it. Got a lot of thoughts on paper, but didn't really kind of get them all meshed together. But I think, and my quick answer to Thomas, for me at least, I obviously can't speak for the rest of America, is the reason baseball has kind of died for me is steroids, Bud Selig's indifference towards it, and then the faux outrage of the steroid era. The Major League Baseball owners had absolutely no problem cashing those checks when attendance was at an all-time high, when McGuire and Sosa and Bonds were chasing home run records, and then they acted outraged when it all came out that it was quote-unquote tainted. So for me, that kind of chased me away. Is anytime you get kind of faux outrage. I kind of touched on some other faux outrage earlier this year in another video that going to cause some pushback with the Kareem Hunt. If you haven't had a chance, check that video out. But to me, there's a number of reasons why baseball isn't as big as it once was. It still has its hardcore fan base, but let's not pretend that it's approaching anywhere near football. Football is king, and honestly, I believe basketball has surpassed it as well. I mean, the basketball off season is pretty much it's almost probably more entertaining than the baseball regular season. So, what is baseball doing wrong? One of the things I think is a big issue with baseball is the old man unwritten rules. It's choking the personality out of the game. You get guys like Bryce Harper and Mike Trout and to some degree Yasiel Puig, who are big personalities, man. They're huge personalities. They want to be shiny and flashy, and And the old man rules of baseball want to chase that away. They don't want any bat flips. They don't want any trash talk. That's not how we do things here. They want to beam guys in the back for flipping a bat. You're not allowed to trash talk the pitcher as you're walking after you just put his best shit over the left field fence. That's choking the life out of baseball. Fans, the newer fans want to see, like, look at what's going on in the NFL right now. As I speak, the big news story of the day is Antonio Brown throwing shots at Juju. I mean, this is entertaining. But the NFL draft is like 3 weeks away. Free agency is the big free agents have already signed. We're in the dead of the NFL season or NFL off season right now, and all over my ESPN news feed, it's Juju and Antonio talking shit about each other. Baseball doesn't have that, man. We had a slow off season. As it stands, I believe we still have two of the top relief pitchers have not been signed, and the season's already started. Bryce Harper signed like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I mean, Major League Baseball free agency is broken. Like, I couldn't explain to you how. Give me a hardcore fan and have them explain to me how NFL or NBA or excuse me, Major League Baseball free agency works through arbitration, and you got to have this many games under your belt before you like. What the fuck, dude? Like, they got to cut all that bullshit out. You're not going to get the casual fan with all that extra rules and stipulations in free agency. You're just not going to do it. NBA is straightforward. NFL is straightforward as far as free agency. Between choking the personalities out, free agency, and then I've long maintained that baseball needs some kind of salary cap. You can't compete. It's hard for a Kansas City Royals or a Tampa Bay Devil Rays. It's hard for them to compete with the likes of the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cubs, it's crazy. And it's insane for them to try to compete when the Yankees have their own fucking TV network. So I remember when the Braves had exclusive rights to TBS, like all their games would show. And then, crazy enough, that's kind of around the time my interest in the sport, probably another contributing factor is my interest in the sport dying, is around the time the Braves stopped being exclusively on TBS. So I couldn't. TBS is that was, like I said, our hometown, kind of like WGN is with the Cubs and the White Sox. There's a number of contributing factors. MLB has got to do some soul searching. If they're not careful, hockey's going to overtake them. Major League Soccer is coming up. They've got to do something to get the younger crowd introduced, or maybe not introduced, but reintroduced to the game. They're chasing right now. It's the generation older than me and maybe my generation are the last like hardcore baseball fans that are left. And the younger generation doesn't give a shit about that. They want football. They want basketball. First off, as a young kid coming up, basketball is a lot cheaper to play on the kind of out in the backyard. I mean, you find a court, you find a hoop, you're in. You got a basketball, you're in. Football, find a field and you have a ball, you're good. Baseball, you got your bats, you got your gloves. I played on a tennis court with tennis ball and baseball bats. So, but you still need bats. It's crazy, man. It's just baseball has got a lot to kind of make up ground. The NBA has marketed their personalities. That's kind of where their turnaround was when Jordan was in the league, and they started marketing him, and then of course Iverson and Kobe and LeBron and those kind of guys. Shaq, Tim Duncan not so much. He didn't really market him too much because he was too quiet to really market. But I think baseball as a whole, it's not as popular. Baseball fans don't want to admit that it's now kind of way back in third. And that may be something else that's driving it down, is even the hardcore fans don't want to admit that there's problems. You're not marketing the game to a younger crowd anymore. You're not marketing the personalities, and it's crazy. I mean, if we're gonna take college football as its own sport, I would say college football has surpassed it. College football is, if we're gonna take it as its own thing, is probably past the NBA right now. Close. There may be neck and neck. But with that said, man, you've got to. I'll put it like this, man. I don't even know who the fucking commissioner of Major League Baseball is anymore. I know it's not Bud Selig. But I know Adam Silver. I know Roger Goodell. I know that they are in the forefront to try to make their leagues better, to get more eyes on their league. It's crazy to me. I'm trying this year to try to get back into baseball. I've watched more baseball in the last week than I probably watched in the last 5 years. Ronald Acuna signing this big deal, which I think is a steal. 10 years, $124 million. They've got the kid locked up till he's in his early 20s or early 30s or late 20s. I'm not real sure how old he is right now. But man, yeah, baseball. This is what we've come to today. This is our conclusions. Markets personalities. Get rid of the old man rules, all that trash talking. Invite that shit. Invite trash talking in. Market, man. Market the teams. Bring the baseball players to the football games. Bring them to the hockey games. Bring them to the basketball games. I know baseball has got one of the longest. They've got the longest season of anybody. And shit starts in March and it doesn't end until almost November. But after November, man, I mean, you see football players like, what was I think it was the Tennessee Titans offensive line showed up to a Nashville Predators hockey game and were chugging beer and shit. Like, you got to have some kind of outreach. I saw the other day where Carson Wentz and Bryce Harper showed up to a 76ers game. You need that. You need to do that. You got to have some kind of outreach. It's what hockey does in Canada. Hockey isn't trying to get a foothold in the United States, I think, so much. They're just kind of relying on word of mouth and existing hockey fans not being obnoxious, because some of them are. But get rid of these old man rules. Invite personality. Invite the bat flips. Invite the trash talk, the gold chains, the earrings. I remember when baseball had some pretty big personalities, but I can only imagine what they would have been without the old man rules. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., Albert Bell, Barry Bonds, big sluggers who Ken Griffey Jr. was a big personality, but he wasn't obnoxious. So let me know what you think. I want to solve baseball's issue with they're sinking, man. I won't say they're dying, but they are sinking. They are right now in third behind NFL and NBA. And if you don't believe me, man, just look at the numbers. I mean, there's no arguing that point. Baseball is third. Look at the numbers. And don't give me that total attendance shit, because baseball has 162 games. It's twice as many as anybody else. Look at average attendance. But again, let me know what you think. Does baseball have a problem? Can it be fixed? So let me know in the comments below. Tell me what other problems you want Sports Wars to solve, man. We'll throw it around and see who has got the best explanation for it, and then go from there. And as always, this is the Bearded Bulldog signing off, and fuck Tom Brady again.